Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day, yeah. So this video basically is going to be about how God feels about black killing versus how black people feel about it. How God feels about black killings, black on black killings versus how black people feel about it. Now, I'm going to start at the top. All you famous people sitting back, uh, collecting money, fleecing the black people, you have a responsibility to the black community. You have a responsibility when you're taking money from them, when you're capitalizing off them, when you're taking millions and millions and millions of dollars from them. The reason why you're a millionaire is because of the black community. That's a 7. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. So you don't think you, just out of the goodness of your heart, you don't think you have a responsibility to people that made you a millionaire and made you successful? You don't think you owe them, you don't think you're responsible to them? Well, I do. That's common sense. If someone makes you, if a community makes you a millionaire, and make you a billionaire, it makes you successful, make you able to sit on the top of the country and be in the hills, how do you feel that you're not responsible to contribute to them in a positive way and in the most positive ways? How you don't feel no responsibility when you're taking money from them? That part. Okay. Yeah, God looks at that. Because what does the Bible say? To whom much is given, much is required. That's why I believe in the Bible. It covers everything. If you're given much, much is required. So what's required of you then? Well, what requirements are you meeting is the better thing to say. What requirements are you meeting? You gotta you have an annual picnic in the black community every year. That's your contribution. An annual picnic. I know, a recreation center. A recreation center. That's your contribution. Well, that's not good enough. And I'm gonna tell you right to your face, that's not good enough. It says much is required. The Bible didn't say have an annual picnic. That's not much is required. Building a recreation center in the ghetto, that's not much is required. Giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving and giving out a little couple gifts on Christmas, that's not much is required. It says to whom much is given, much is required. Okay, you got millions of dollars, but you hold an annual picnic that costs probably tens of thousands. You give out gifts that's tens of thousands. You build a recreation center under $1 million, but you're getting billions of dollars. So you got much, but look at what you're doing. Much is not required of you. I know I had to do this because who you think they talking to? Who you think the Bible is talking to? To whom much is given. Because some of you say, well, I ain't even no Christian. It says to whom much is given. It's a principle. That's a 7. It's a principle. It's a principle. It's a principle. And you haven't properly acknowledged that principle. And you can pick your favorite art. You can pick your favorite of whoever you like. And none of them are doing the work that's required. Okay? But I don't want to go too hard on that because I already got a video on that. If you want to look up that video on the rich African Americans not contributing properly to the black community, just go through my videos and you'll see a video that the title might not be, it might not say exactly what I just said, but you'll see it. You'll know it when you see it. And I'm going to do another video. I'm going to do an update on that anyway, a progressive video on it anyway. But today I'm talking about how God feels about the black on black killing versus how the black community sees it. Because see, cancel culture which I call the Black Committee, that they have summoned themselves to this position of thinking that they are uh, the committee to make sure and oversee and make sure that nobody messes with the Black community. You know who's messing with the Black community? The Black community. It's black on black crime. Where have you been? Where have you been? That's the real question. Where have they been? The biggest problem that you have now in 2022 is not racism, it's losing rappers, the most famous rappers in your community. That's worth millions of dollars and they still dying. That part. Worth millions of dollars and they dying. And guess who did it? Not the white man, not the police, the Black community. And you know what? We don't hear anything, do we? We hear crickets. Now here's the perfect scenario to show you the difference. Let a policeman had done that. Had killed Takeoff, the rapper from the Migos. If a police had done that, we would still be talking about it. Y'all still be talking about it. If a police had done it, y'all still be talking about it. You would be outraged and protesting. So what's the difference? You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is? In all actuality, for all of you Americans, you're biased towards the African American community and you have your picks on who you like and who you don't like. That's what it is. Because he was killed at the hands of a black guy. Okay? You don't got nothing to really say about that. You know why? Because the mentality is, let's charge it to the game. Let's charge it to the game. Let's charge it to the game. That's what you want to do. But God is not charging it to the game. That's what I need you to see. God does not wear Adidas. God does not wear Nikes and Gucci. God, in other words, God is not a part of your culture. God is not a part of this hip hop, let's be hip and let's, all of that. That's you. That's what you for. There's nothing divine about it because it does not serve God. It does not serve God, so you cannot act like your culture. Now, you can have a culture that is of God when it serves God. Your culture does not serve God. The African American culture, for cancel culture people, you need to understand the culture does not serve God. Listen, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. I enforce the rules. I am just an enforcer, no different than law enforcement. I enforce the spiritual laws. That's all I do. A police is not perfect, but he or she enforces the laws. You can't say, well, he needs to be perfect before he can enforce those laws out there. You wait for perfect police? Nobody else ain't. Try to do something out there that's breaking laws, natural laws, and an imperfect police will be jacking you up and throwing you in a precinct. But then when it comes to the man of God, he has to be perfect to enforce laws. That part. Hey, I'm law enforcement. That's what I am. Now you understand it. I'm spiritual law enforcement. And we go deeper than natural law enforcement. We go into the culture. We go into the politics. We go into everything because we're the spiritual courts. We're the highest courts. And if you think that all this black on black killing was going to get by the spiritual courts, then you're just another biased person towards the black community. And I'm not. I serve God first and everything comes next after that. People always say put God first. The black community, many are not putting God first. Okay, then why you ain't telling them what they really need to hear? All you people with influence, you could say one thing and change everything. You could say one thing and change everything. How come they ain't saying it? You know why? Because in their culture, in the African American culture, if you say something, they esteem you as a sellout. I know I'm right. What's supposed to happen then? We supposed to sit back and let black people kill as many people as they can, or as many people as they want to, and say nothing? We supposed to just let it go on without a real correction and just say do better, which is another form of trying to be cool while addressing black on black killing at the same time. That's what's happening. Yeah, I think you're trying to be halfway cool. When you say do better, I ain't saying do better. I'm saying you're bringing judgment on all of us and all Americans for killing Africans. That's what you're doing. It affects the whole community. You have become the most murderous community in the American community. So how do you think it's not right to address this? Because you're so used, hear this part, you're so used to being discriminated against and criticized and hated that when it's time for when the time has come for you to be corrected as human beings, you're not able to digest it. And it's somewhat understandable, but then at some point you got to evolve and adapt. Just like with any other situation, everybody from the hood understanding adapting, right? We all understanding adapting. So at some point you got to start adapting to criticism, constructive criticism that you deserve. At some point, you can't go in the hood and say, well, you know, I've been through so much. I just can't watch my back. You gotta watch your back. And you can't get tired of doing it. And you gotta adapt to any situation. So it's to me, it goes hand in hand with just basically adapting. You know what I'm saying? You can't get tired of adapting. And you can't get tired when it's time to adapt right here. It's time to adapt. It's time to adapt to the facts that, hey, you know, we're doing a lot that now is bringing about correction. Now we have to be able to stomach and digest this correction and understand where the obvious reasons it's coming up as an issue, instead of just looking at it as a person that, for whatever reason, don't like you or hate you or whatever. How about it's starting to affect everybody subconsciously? I mean, indirectly. It's indirectly affecting everyone. So now, in all actuality, anybody can really speak on it because now it's affecting everybody. Look, man, it's even, you feel that you own everybody that's black, right? You have no ownership even over your own body. You don't have no ownership over who you are. So how can you think you own the next man? You own no one. You don't own anyone. You don't even own yourself from a godly perspective. You don't even own yourself. So the first mistake is, oh, well, he's one of us, so we'll correct him. We'll get to the bottom of it. How you gonna get to the bottom of a man of God? You can't correct me. I receive correction from God. I'm not one of your own. I'm born again unto the kingdom of God. And if you are among us, if you look at any man of God or servant of God in the Bible, if you are among us, you're subject to spiritual correction. And if you take it personal and you digest it as personal, to me, you're now coming into a point where you are now shell shocked from racism, almost like PTSD racism, because you feel like everything that's said has to be racially motivated. Well, if black Africans are killing each other, you don't think it's someone with pure motives that will come out and really want to address this? There's no one that wants to do that. There's no one that says, we really have to campaign about this. We really got to step it up and stop saying do better, do better. We really have to start bringing out the big guns and talking about the real issues and get to the wiring of this situation. There's no one ever going to come like that. There's no one that's ever going to have pure motives for doing that. And that's what I'm saying. To me, that's racist being racially shell-shocked. Like racist PTSD. Where everyone say they tough and then until we get here. Now everybody's sensitive. But then on the streets, you tough as they come. You can say, anybody can say anything to me as long as it's real. As long as it's real and it's for real, really reality, I don't care what you say. Because I'm trying to make myself better anyway. But if it's not real, I got to pull your card. And it has to get pulled now. But how do everybody feel that God feels about it? How do you think God feels about this? How do you think God feels about black on black killing? Oh, well, just do better like everybody else say. Just do better like the rich famous people say. You think God is on his throne saying, just do better. And you know why I think that a lot of people think that God probably kind of giving you mercy? Is because a lot of people have this complex in the African American community that they're the chosen people or the original man. You know what that means? It goes back to what I said in the beginning of this video. To whom much is given, much is required. If you are the chosen people, if you are the original man, then much is required of you, not less. The Bible says more. More is required. You sit back and kick back and think it's all good because you feel like you're the original man. You walk around like, you have no moral responsibility. You walk around biased and not correcting your own people, but you correct your own children. Correction is necessary to groom a people, to groom human beings. Correction is a must. You can't raise children without correction. And you can't raise a community without correction either. First thing people want to say, well, you ain't my daddy. Are you serious? Are you serious? You sound like a person with special needs. You have to have correction for children, and you have to have correction for a community. In other words, if you don't, guess what happens? In other situations, the jailhouse gonna be correcting them. It's called a correctional facility. They're gonna be doing the correction. Notice it uses the word correction. Notice it has the root word correction in it. Correctional facility, correcting people that were not corrected in our society. That's a 7. See, you fail to realize this. This is an elephant in the room. And it's been this way too long. And now it's coming to the point where, like I said in my other video, is civil war in the ghetto, right? The righteous African versus the wicked African. See, we forget, oh boy, this is good. Thank you, Lord. We forget that Moses was pulled out from among his people and floated down the Nile River and pulled out from his ethnicity, his blood. He was pulled away, raised up, and then brought back to deliver them. You know what? Now, did you hear what I just said? You know what the problem is in the black community? If people ain't lived in the ghetto, if Africans ain't lived in the ghetto, and God delivered them and pulled them out of it so he can raise them up, and they come back to deliver you, you say, we don't want to hear that person. That's a 7. Oh, you don't want to hear the person that God pulled out like Moses, sent them on the backside of the desert even too, and then brought them back to deliver you. He got to live in suffering and destruction the whole time with you, for you to listen to him. And how is that working for you? How is it working listening to the people that's right where you been the whole time? How is that working for you? You need people that come out of it so they can see it better. We all know that as humans, you can see something better. People on the outside can see something better. So what you don't realize is sometimes God's method may be to pull someone out. Right? Got enough African blood without you giving a pass to it. Got enough African blood without you giving a pass to it. You don't got to give no pass to it. You got enough African blood without your pass. Pulled him out, groomed him, and brought him back as a deliverer. But you saying we don't know what that is. You shouldn't know what it is. You shouldn't totally know what it is when it comes from God. Oh, you see, the problem with the atheist is he can't get it. He let his mind be God. He can't accept that he can't figure God all the way out. I don't want a God I can figure out. How is he God and I can figure him out? God now, not an intelligent person. You can't even figure out the most intelligent people in your society. You can't figure them out. You still amazed at all the things Albert Einstein said and all these other inventors said. You still putting up memes on Facebook. That part. And you have not become even progressive as a community as far as intelligence. Intelligence is held back for your government. Intelligence is held back for the military. As soon as your community shows any intelligence is shot down with dumbness. And it comes through the culture. You ever wondered why intelligence is not the top of the priority of the culture and the people in your country? Because when you move into intelligence, you start to see everything for what it is. Intelligence is fought more than anything. A cultic mindset of being dumbed down is what's presented to you. The first 4 words in the word culture is cult. C-U-L-T. Culture. A lot of you haven't even looked at that. Because at the end of the day, a culture produces a massive mindset. So I'm going to say similar to a cult. Everybody wears the same thing like a cult. Everybody thinks the same way like a cult. And guess what? Most cultures are not even spiritually sound like a cult. Most cultures don't have the right way of thinking. Most cultures are murderous and demonic, like a cult. And ironically, the first 4 words of culture is cult. C-U-L-T. Then you spell the rest, U-R-E. C-U-L-T-U-R-E. First four letters, cult. Culture. All right, you might think that's a coincidence, but what is not a coincidence is that most cultures are very similar to cults. See, this time, God, the good guy wins. God's man wins. And you're going to accept it or you're going to die as a whole entire American community. That's not just one ethnicity. See, we've come to the end of times. In the past, you could have played with God's people. And I can't tell you what would have happened. But this time, being where we are and where you are in hypocrisy, you can't make it. You can't make it even as black people because it's too much hypocrisy. So you've become like the Romans too. You've become like the Romans too. Now you want to harm anybody that talks out against you like the government does. You've become like the government. Oh, I'm wrong about it. Then why can't nobody speak out on you just like the government? Start talking about black people, see what happens. Start talking about the American government and see what happens. It's similar, right? I don't know about the past. I know about now. That's what I'm saying. So they've become as the Romans too, and unfortunately, whatever world that people think that is coming for the African American community, it's not coming because of the black on black crime. I'm telling you this. Because let's say for example, it does become a better community or some uprising or some future. What are we gonna do with the crazy people that's killing everybody? I'm talking about at the drop of a hat. I ain't talking about if you've been through war and you perceive and you might be street minded and you might perceive people as enemies. We ain't talking about that. We talking about people that is just ridiculous with it. Killing people over wrong orders in the restaurants. That kind of thing. Killing people because they didn't get enough fries. Go look it up. Shooting at people because they got the wrong orders and stuff. Like, who are you? Who can you know, to where you can't receive a wrong order. And that's human. That you're dealing with humanity. And you're so paranoid you think that somebody did it on purpose. In all actuality, it may just be, hey, a bad day at a restaurant. An unfocused day at a restaurant. But you don't perceive it like that. You perceive it, you take it personal. And now, up to date now, the Lord has someone that's not fearful of the African American community or the American community. I'm not fearful of either one. Because there's so much hypocrisy. How can you fear it? How can you fear someone that's a hypocrite? I don't care if they're threatening you with death. You would be dead at the hands of a hypocrite. And to some, that's a sweet death. Well, the people that killed you was hypocrites. So did they really win? That's a 7. Boom. Did they really win when they was hypocrites? That's why truth and facts is so important, because you can't even win with killing somebody when you a hypocrite. How you win then? Well, who you are is still there. Who you are in culture is still there. That's what makes, see, now when we get into this level of warfare, we lose a lot of people because you don't understand in these arts of warfare, many of you don't understand winning and losing on these levels. If you are at fault and if the truth is being presented to you and you kill the messengers of that truth, you lost. You lost because in all actuality, you were not the truth. You were the falsehood. You were the one that was tainted. In the spiritual world, you lost. I don't care about the culture. I don't care about the American community. In the world, in the spiritual world, you lost. When you got 44 states with child marriage, how you gonna ever win? That's why I told you we won. Who can you kill to make yourself 44 states with child marriage? Who can you kill to make yourself not pedophiles by definition? You can't kill nobody to make it go away because it's you. You would have to die, which would be right. Now you see how the spiritual world works? Boom. That's a 7 hour. And this is where we get to the highest levels of warfare. Now you see where I'm at? Where it doesn't matter if you kill somebody because you still are losers. You still are. Call it like it is. You still losers. So how did you win? Boom. You're still losing people. You're still losing as far as integrity and character. So how did you win? You didn't win. And that's the highest levels of warfare. Welcome to it. Why are you trying to welcome somebody to something all the time? You got these little fools talking about welcome to the real world, welcome to the new world order. Like you introducing me to something. We already knew all this was coming. We Christians, we the one told you about the mark of the beast. You ain't get it from us. So where you get the mark of the beast from? Where did you get 666 from? That's from the Bible, dummy. Yo, that's from the Bible. That's from the Bible, suckers. So how you informing me anything? We already was prepared for years and years and years ago. That's why we win it. We was already ready for this. And what you supposed to be informing me or something? That's talked about that comes from the Bible. See, that's how stupid Satanist is. Why you gonna put 666 on you when that's Bible prophecy? That's a 7, man. Ow. 666 is Bible prophecy. You so retarded, you put Bible prophecy on you. I can't make this up. That's how stupid these American Satanists are. These American Gothic people got 666 on you. That's Bible prophecy, dummy. That's Bible prophecy. But God can do anything, and that doesn't even have to come to pass. It's up to God. That's what you got to look at. That's what you got to look at. Some stuff is just stupid. Some stuff is just, ignorance. But the bottom line is this. Your community has went so far out there as with the black on black crime. How can we pull that back? It takes everybody to differentiate themselves from that. And you can't do that with hypocrisy. If you're talking about black on black crime, right? But you got killing going on everywhere. In the music, all in the music and the culture. You got all of that going on, right? How can your culture talk about even stopping the killing when you got black on black crime music? You have black on black crime music. Black people talking about killing other people in the rap songs, that's not talking about killing white people. It's not talking about killing Asians. It's talking about killing other Africans. Do you think that's why I celebrate it? You have to ask yourself. Because at the end of the day, if it was white people being talked about, put to music, being killed, if that was put to music where it was talking about white people being killed, they would have been banned that. But they're not banning the fact that you're talking about killing black people. So it makes you wonder, are they like on some sinister stuff where they're like dancing to black people being killed? Think about it. So it's not possible for somebody to look at it like that. Well, if someone thought it, it's a possibility. If I think it, it's a possibility. See, the problem is everybody wants to be biased and be cool and chill about trying to change the community. It's not going to happen, man. And I'm going to tell you why. Because these kids are too far gone. They taking pills. They taking everything you can imagine. Percocet, Xanaxes, all of that. They taking all of these different types of pills. They doing coke, they doing ecstasy, Molly, all of that, right? Still about shooting and killing. So now it's influenced by all these other drugs. Now it's influenced by all these other chemicals, which have chemicals produce things. Chemicals produce things. Some chemicals produce this, some chemicals produce that. Now you got a new generation of pill popping people, right? That's a new chemical with the violence. It ain't the same as a man that's violent smoking weed as the guy that's popping pills. That's not the same chemicals. It's not going to produce the same effect with the person that has the gun. So now these days, you got people smoking K2, which is synthetic weed. I don't know who would do that. And that's kind of being, you don't see it that much anymore because now, weed is being legal everywhere. So K2 is kind of going away. But it's the young generations, not only them. It's the older generations, but they're influenced by the younger generations because they have to keep up with the younger generations, which means they got to be just as cutthroat as the young generation. So they have to be up to speed. In other words, the young generation set the mold for how the jungle move. The old men may enforce the rules, but ultimately they succumb to the violence and the speed of the violence of the young people. That's why you see dudes, big fat dudes, 50 years old, jumping in cars and stuff, shooting 2-5 people for not for much of nothing. Big fat dude jumping in the car. It's because of them now adjusting to the young mentality of how the jungle moves according to their perspective. They got to. If you in the jungle, you got to move with how it's moving. And how it's moving is everything is cutthroat. Everything is like at the drop of a hat. Everything is, a problem. So that being said, how are you going to change that? When now you got 50-year-old men jumping in cars, doing it like they 19, shooting 5 people for a little of nothing. How are you actually going to change that? Now, everybody say they're innovative. Everybody say they part of the times. Well, how come you ain't thinking ahead? That's the indication that you're not, because you're not thinking ahead. If you was innovative and I was the dinosaur, if I'm the dinosaur, why you can't think ahead? You're the dinosaur. And we're tired of seeing all of the killing. We're tired of seeing all of this and everybody just saying do better. Because in actuality, you have become a biased community. Well, the white man ain't gonna say nothing. He ain't gonna touch it. Not with a stick. No, hey, no, I ain't saying nothing about that. The Mexicans, what can they say? They don't live it. I know. You want to act like we all together in the same boat. No, we not. Mexicans are perceived differently out here in public. That's all I need to say and close my book. If you're perceived differently, I'm talking about see, listen, let me show you something. Let me show you the difference. Among Mexicans, you may have people that apparently look like they gangsters. They may have tattoos on their face, their arms. Okay, that they perceive like that, right? They perceive as gangsters, and so you can say, well, I'm perceived as a gang. I'm perceived a certain way. Yeah, but you made it that way. You decided to get tattoos. You decided to join a gang. I'm talking about black people that look, no matter how they look, no matter what age they are, they're perceived a certain way. That's a 7. And that's what I'm trying to show you. So they can't tell you. They can't tell you nothing because they're not living it. They don't even have the same experience. So the white man can't tell you. The Mexicans can't tell you. Who else is going to tell you? Asian people, they can't tell you. So who else is going to tell you? Who else is going to tell you about how it really should be? The blueprint for really living this African-American experience in America. Who has the blueprint? That's a 7. Because the blueprint ain't drug selling and inspiring drug dealers. Shaking booty with and not taking care of kids. Talking about taking other people women and other people men. That can't be the blueprint for the African-American community. And that's what I'm showing you. Everybody talking about blueprints, but they ain't got one. Where everybody talk about blueprints, but they ain't got one. Oh, you got a blueprint for yourself? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. But you ain't got a blueprint for the African-American community. That's a 7. Okay, who got a blueprint for the black people? I got to do this because if I don't say it like this, you're going to sit around the same way you've been sitting around. Who got a blueprint for the black people? Who has it? Can't find that person, can you? That's what I'm saying. But you got all the smoke with people that got something to say, but you ain't got nobody that's presenting the blueprint. Therefore, there is no correction according to a blueprint. So it's a messy situation where people are desperately trying to say what needs to be said, and and it's a messy situation on your behalf of you trying to cancel them and correct them and persecute them and badger them and everything in between. There is no human beings on earth that are unapproachable. There's no one unapproachable. There's no one unapproachable. And sad to say, the African-American community has become unapproachable. It has become unapproachable. Where now you can't even say nothing. That's not how God designed it. That's not how he designed it to be. So this is what I believe is happening. Judgment is here because of all the killings of the African people. I base this on understanding God's patterns of dealing with evil. You got all this killing. So what God gonna do? God's just gonna sit back and let it be because you being biased about it. You can't protect yourself from it. How are you gonna protect yourself from judgment when it's you that's doing it? Now, if the white man was doing it, that's why you got to catch up. It's not the white man. Now, if the white man was doing it, you would say, okay, God's blessing us. God's still going to bless us. God is helping us as a people because the white man is persecuting us. God see that. God knows what's going on. But you can't say that anymore. How are you going to say that? And you didn't realize, you didn't take and make a spiritual transition, a tangible and intangible and spiritual transition from understanding who the enemy has become on a day-to-day hands-to-hands, face-to-face basis. I'm not talking about it on a system basis. I'm not talking about it on a government basis. I'm talking about on a day-to-day basis. Because if we are reminded, let us be reminded. If we are a person that is good with keeping memory, let us be mindful of where we come from, where white people were just lynching and killing people. They were just killing and lynching people. They were just killing and lynching Africans. Right? And now that's not the case. What the case is now, you're killing each other. Now, see, here's where I lose a lot of people. Because when you heard that right there, nothing happened. That's a 7. Nothing happened. When I told you just now that Africans are killing Africans and it's no longer white people doing it. Where are the white people doing it at? On a day-to-day, month-to-month basis, like they used to, where the white people doing it at? I have to do this because, see, you've been given this perspective like it's all good. Like you can't get a hold of it. Like you can't do nothing about it. That's how people will have you to perceive it to be. Because they don't want you to do nothing about it. Now that's where the white man might be involved. He don't want you to say nothing about it. He don't want you to do nothing about it. He's sitting back glad that now you're killing yourselves. You don't think there's no racist people that think that way? Okay. You don't think there's no racist people that say, well, hey, looks like we ain't got to do nothing no more. That's what I'm saying. People say the other people are simple, but check yourself and see if you're the one that's simple. Because they really ain't got to do nothing. Maybe that's why they ain't doing nothing, because you've become your own killing machine. So why do they got to do anything? You ever thought about that? Let's just try a test. Let's stop all the killing and then see what the white people do. Because until then, you can't really say they not out there thinking to kill you. That ain't the mentality anymore. You can't say that until you start killing each other. Because at the end of the day, the killing is still going on. You see what I'm saying? So why did they got to come up? Why did they got to pull up when the killing is going on? It's being done too easy. Why would you, if you was a racist white person, why would you go and kill black people when they doing it? I'm not trying to be funny. Why would you do that? They're already killing each other. And see, here's the problem. Half of you, soon as I say it, it doesn't register. It's not registering. And what I need you to see is that that's not how God is. God is not like that. And I'm telling you what keeps you from thinking he's not like that. Because you think you his chosen people and you the original man and you the original Hebrews and all of this and that, right? But even with that being, if that is facts and that's true, right? He still will kill you. Go check the history of the Bible. Go check the Torah. Go check the Torah. Even if you are the original people, he will kill you when you do not obey. That's a 7. So now we passed that, right? Because some of y'all had a complex like, okay, we the original people, we the original man, we're the chosen people, we the Hebrews. Okay. But if you sin, you're dead. You forgot about that part. That's the part that you left out. That if you are the Hebrews, if you sin, you're dead. What about that part, buddy? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to articulate. Is that you're killing each other, and what you think God gonna do about it? You're gonna be dead too. What you call a culture, what you call the community, of America is going to be dead because God is tired of the sin. He's tired of the killing. And you think that because you're a part, you're the Hebrews, and you think that you're favored, you think that God ain't going to do nothing. Even preachers are kind of talking like that. Even preachers are sitting up telling you, God gonna lead us home. God gonna make a better day. You gotta make a better day. You gotta co-labor with God and co-work with God to make a better day. You can't be sitting up thinking God gonna do everything and you got free will to do whatever you want to do. And you're using your free will to kill each other, but God gonna make a better day. Make it make sense, man. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody want to be real about street stuff, but they don't want to be real about nothing else. Nothing else, though. And to me, that's a signification of who's real and who's fake. You can be 100 about all of it. Be 100 about all of it, man. Because the white man can't say nothing to you. So who's supposed to say something? When you in desperate need of correction, it's a crisis. You don't think it's a crisis because you're so used to it. It's a crisis. When your greatest superstars, your greatest the most relevant rap star is killed over a dice game, over another argument that he wasn't even involved in. And ain't nobody saying nothing, are they? This is what I'm trying to show you. This is the culture. Okay, people express, some words, right? But then it goes back to normal. It goes back to normal. It goes right back to normal. The only thing that can really change it, man, is that people stand up, the leaders that they all respect, all these leaders that they respect, they need to start talking. They need to start saying the same thing I'm saying. And you may hurt a lot of people's feelings, but you gonna feel better about the condition of your people. The people, listen, like I said, there's now the righteous African and the wicked African. It's no doubt about it. It's no doubt about this. And you have to decide what you're trying to take into the future. You trying to take wickedness into the future? You trying to take wicked Africans into the future? How are you going to build anything? That's why a civil war is twofold. There's an American civil war overall in the country, and there's a civil war going that is inevitable in the African American community because now you have the righteous African and the wicked African. And it's no denying it. It's no denying it. They just stuck on killing, stuck on foolishness, and they don't want to do better. They don't want to be better. They don't care about how they treat their own people. So what are you left to do? Because insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So now you gotta evaluate, are we practicing insanity? We're expecting something else to happen, but we saying do better, do better. It's not, listen, man, that ain't working. You come on, you can't be that simple. You think doing better, saying do better is gonna make people change. You think that's gonna make fully grown men change. And these crazy kids that's 19 and 20, you think that they gonna change when you say do better. They not, man. That's not good enough. They need to hear it from all them people they listening to in them records. They need to hear it from all these rappers. They need to hear it, and that's what's gonna slow them down. They're gonna be like, getting high. Dang, what are you talking about? Wow. Really? Why are you talking like that? That's the first thing gonna happen. I can't believe he's talking like that. Listen, man, you have to assume that, man, this killing machine is intentional. It's a killing machine, hooked to the culture, hooked to the musicians, hooked to the people, and then pushed out in the streets, and they killing each other. It's a killing machine, man. At the end of the day, and guess what? At the end of the day, man, black people are being killed just as usual. And that's what you got to look at. I don't listen. You worried about how it's done. Well, it ain't white people ain't killing us no more, but you still getting killed though. That's a 7. You still, at the end of the day, you still getting killed. You think a racist man care how you getting killed? He wouldn't care if a bull was doing it. He wouldn't care if a lion was doing it. Well, you know, the lions are taking care of killing the black people these days. You think he care? He does not care. The racist man does not care how you die, long as you die. And that's what you need to look at. We need to change this now because we've been played. Maybe the racist man likes this. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about that? That he might actually like that? That you killing each other? Oh, so he don't like it. So the racist white man don't like the black people killing each other. He finds that appalling. The racist white man now, he finds that unpleasurable. You don't think he find that pleasurable that now black people are actually turning on themselves? That's worse. It's one thing for a white man to kill you. It's one thing for an African that comes from the same experience that you come from to kill you. That's worse. And that's why I am the way I am, because I feel like you know where black people come from. You know the struggle. How you gonna how you gonna kill somebody from the same struggle that you come from? That's treated differently from everybody else in the country. Because like I said, Mexicans ain't treated like us. And I don't care what they go through. And they know better than that anyway. That's why they will nod and listen. You know what I mean? They will show respect because they know we it's no comparison on how black people are treated versus how Mexicans are treated. I mean, because at the end of the day, none of us are treated perfect. So, okay, you can't look at the imperfected treatment. The imperfect treatment, I mean, everybody gonna get that. It's a heightened difference with how black people are treated here in this country than anyone else. Who would dare even compare themselves to that experience? What other race would dare compare themselves in their experience here to the black African American experience? What other race would dare compare themselves to that? With all the history, all that stuff going on. All the stuff. Not even mentioning slavery. Who would dare compare themselves to that's why we gotta stop letting people put themselves in the box with black people. Because you think you in the same situation. And you're not. You're not in the same situation. And I'm tired, and see what that makes, you know what that makes happen? Hear this part closely. Other people start getting out politics like the white man. Because you think, I guess you think because you got a little bit of poverty going on, and you got a little bit of, something going on where, you're not treated that good by white people. You think you me and you the same, and then we have the same experience. Let's put it that way. You acting like we now have the same experience because the white man kind of treats you a little funny. Well, he does everybody like that that's not white. That's all I got to tell you. That's the best thing I can tell you for the Mexicans. The white man in America kind of don't treat nobody right if they're not white. So that does not mean, hear this part, that does not mean you have the same experience, because if you're not white, he's going to treat you differently. But what you do is you don't really pay attention and you think we all in the same situation. Well, he's going to treat you differently too. But you're not in the situation of the African American experience. And what you do with that comfortability is you come in and now try to get in our politics like we all street people in the same struggle, and now you politicking like the hood politics against black people. You see what I'm saying? And you're out of pocket. And I'm the one to call you on it. If you ain't got the same experience, you don't got no business politicking about no black people at all. And that's what I'm saying. That's proper black authority. When you tell every other ethnicity, you ain't got no business politicking over here. Yeah. It need to be said just like that. Because they out of pocket. What you doing oppressing an African when you come from what? You don't come from that experience. So all you're doing is what the white man been doing. That's how we look at it. Listen, until we have the same experience, we're not the same people. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how a black person look. They could be old, they could be young, they could be everything in between. They get thrown down on the street by the police. Man, they see an elderly Mexican, they ain't throwing her down on the street. Man, they'll throw an old woman, black woman down on the street in a minute, in a New York second. They don't care if she's old. They don't do that to no elderly Mexicans. Am I right or wrong about it? Am I right or wrong about it? And that's why you know it's a difference. Look at how they treat the elderly. Look at how they treat black elderly people. They don't even care. They don't treat no Mexican elderly like that. Come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. There may be situations, but I'm talking about on the average. It's not happening. That's why it's so highly offensive for you to be in our politics in the first place. In the first place. That's why we offended. It ain't just because you're a different ethnicity. It's because you don't share the same experience, and it's offensive. It's offensive because you don't share the same experience. Listen, as a Mexican, you have the privilege of fluctuating to be with black people or fluctuating to be with white people. That's a 7. A Mexican can't be with the white people. A pretty Mexican woman can dye her hair blonde, go out to Lower Manhattan and hang out with white people. Oh, I'm wrong? Look at how some of these Mexican women, how they dress up. They be looking like white women. And then if when it's convenient for that same woman to act black, she'll act like when she need to, or she'll act like she ghetto Mexican. Oh, I'm wrong? Come on, man. I gotta tell the truth so you see. They can fluctuate between being black and white. You can be mad at me, but it's the truth. And that's why we get offended. When you try to act like we have the same experience, when you have the luxury also of fluctuating between being black or with us or being with them. We don't have that luxury. We don't have that luxury. We don't have the luxury of fluctuating between being with white people and black people. You do have that luxury. Because even if it's not by your appearance, they'll see you as a worker. And this is how they see you. It's not how I see you. They see you as a laborer, as an asset to their companies. Now you see what I'm saying. And listen, on the application, what they ask you, black, white, everything, but then they ask you, are you Hispanic or Latino? They set that a whole apart from every other ethnicity on the application. But yet we got the same experience. That's what I'm saying. You know I'm right. They have all the ethnicities, and then they ask you if you're Hispanic or Latino. Because they see you as a laborer, as a worker. I don't see you that way. They do. That's why you need to know that. So that's why I find it highly offensive when you go past all of that and try to get in my politics. Now you see what I'm saying. Now you see what I'm saying. And that's why I have a zero tolerance, because I know you're not going through what I'm going through. I know you're not experiencing it exactly how I am. So again, the white people can't tell you, the Mexican can't tell you. It's up to us. It's up to us. And you gotta remain approachable. You got to. You gotta remain approachable. Because if you don't, there's not gonna be anything left. You're gonna be thinking, oh, this movement is gonna start, some great thing is gonna start. And it's not. Not according to God. and looking at the country and the state of the country, the state that it's in, what is going to be left? What is going to be left? Nothing but something from God. That's all that's left now. That's why you're here now, hanging on me. You know why? Because ain't nothing left. Ain't nothing left. And so now here you are hanging on my ship, banging on my ship, banging on my boat, trying to get on my boat. You know why? Because ain't nothing, everything else falling apart. It's all falling apart. And out of desperation, you trying to hang on to something that makes sense. But it don't work like that either. You got to show proper respect and pay proper dues when you're wrong. That's the real world, and that's even God's system. True repentance means you go in the opposite direction. That's what true repentance is. So if you're going in the same direction, doing the same kind of stuff, how did you truly repent of how you treated somebody? You didn't repent. You didn't turn from it, literally. Yeah, we looking for monetary, we looking at this to be acknowledged monetarily speaking. Not just, a pat on the back, let's all be friends again. No, buddy. I'm a grown man, and we're looking for it to be acknowledged monetarily speaking. That's taking proper responsibility for it. Not, we like you, we love you. Nah. Now you're flattering yourself. Really? Because you think that's enough? You think that's enough for me? For you to just like me again? Then you're flattering yourself. What if I don't even accept that? But you feel like I should. Same thing with the Americans in general. You offended me and I'm supposed to just do something for you and be a king for you, a leader for you? You're flattering yourself. What if I want to have nothing to do with you because you got 44 states with child marriage? You got 44 states with child marriage. Why I want to do anything for you? See, you're not updating yourself to the war, to what's going on. That's where we at now. Just in case you didn't know. We're at the point where America has been revealed to have or exposed, however you want to put it, of having 44 states out of 50 states in America with child marriage. That's where we at now. So why would I want to be a part of that? And your arrogance in flattering yourself, you think I still want something to do with you because you think everybody wants something to do with America. Not me. You couldn't impress me. Impressing me would have been getting that bag. When you know you've been wrong. When you know you've done wrong. But you see that as humiliation. That's a 7. Oh, you see getting my bag as humiliation because you ain't a man. A man would see it as gaining his redemption and getting his self-respect back and getting the respect of the community back. Well, if people see you getting the bag, maybe you redeem. People see, hey, they took responsibility for what they did. It's not about me liking you and you liking me. It's about redeeming yourself and getting your self-respect and getting your respect back for the community. But you're too tunnel vision to see that. You're worried about winning a war you ain't gonna never win. So getting the bag for you to get me my money is humiliation because you feel like that means you lose. Yeah, I can't make this up. Oh, I'm wrong? I'm absolutely right. And that's why you keep going when you know you're wrong. And you know you lost. Because like I said, and I'm gonna do a video about this. When you're dealing with the truth and the facts in a war, in a physical war, it doesn't matter who you kill, right? Because the facts are and the truth is still there. I know it's the higher levels of warfare and the higher levels of integrity and honor. How you gonna win a war without honor? How you gonna win a war without the truth? Let's put it like this. How are you gonna win a war when you're on the wrong side of the truth? Because when it all ends and you think you won, the truth is still there. You have no integrity. And I don't care who it is. It's a part of the American community. And if it, and listen, that's the part as far as the gang stalking. It doesn't matter who it is; they're part of the American community. But I got the government with 44 states with child marriage. So how is the government going to win when they're on the wrong side of the truth too? Oh, just in case you say, well, he doesn't know it's the Illuminati. Well, hey, it doesn't matter who it is when it comes to 44 states with child marriage, and that doesn't. It's the American government is what I'm saying. This is one issue besides the gang stalking. Because what people will say, well, he just don't know who it is. It ain't us. But it is you with 44 states with child marriage. So your government lost right there. And how are they going to win when they're on the wrong side of the truth? And how the gang stalkers going to win when they're part of the American community, which they're connected to being on the wrong side of the truth too. Oh, you don't have to, listen, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you're using American resources and American people and you're here in America and you have a social security number, you are American and therefore you're connected to the wrong side of the truth, which makes me win even in your situation with me and you. Yeah, that part. That's a 7. Just in case you think, oh, that wasn't us. Well, you're here and you're using resources from the Americans. You're using the Americans. That makes you pretty much technically a part of them. Yeah, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too and say, well, we're a secret society, but you're using Americans. That part. We're not with them, but you're using their money. But you're using their people. That part. But you're informing their people and formatting them a certain way. That's a 7. You're part of them. And you're part of them being on the wrong side of the truth as well. And that proves my greatest point. How you going to win a battle when you're on the wrong side of the truth? Same thing with the black community. How are you going to win a battle when you're on the wrong side of the truth, bro? If you're killing each other, you're on the wrong side of the truth. So whoever you kill, you're still going to lose according to the higher levels of warfare, which requires integrity and honor. You're going to lose there, which means someone else will come up and say the same thing, and someone else will kill you or could kill you. And that's for any community. This is in general talking about the higher levels of warfare. So if you're wrong, you're on the wrong side of the truth. Let's just say any situation. You got somebody like me comes up, points it out. That guy dies. Somebody else comes and do the same thing because you're on the wrong side of the truth. So in other words, your battle never stops. Your war never stops because you're on the wrong side of the truth. And guess what that also means? God is going to continue to attack you. And so this war never stops. So guess what? You don't win. Do you got that? Do you understand? This is how important being on the right side of the truth is versus being on the wrong side of the truth. I know you thought just physical war is all this is about. Well, don't most wars start about some type of lack of integrity? That part. Don't most wars start because of some lack of character? The whole war starts because of it. That's what it's all about. The first Civil War, what that was about? A lack of integrity concerning how white Americans was treating Africans. They went to war about it, right? So even if the South won, they still lost as far as integrity, and some other country would have came in and stopped them from how they were treating Africans. That's a 7. Now you see what I'm saying. If they had lost to the Yankees, if they had lost to the North, some other country eventually would have came in because they were still on the wrong side of truth. Now you see what I'm saying. Now you get what I'm saying. Yeah. And so it's the same in your situation. You're on the wrong side of the truth, so eventually someone's going to come in. Someone, if not God, someone's going to come in and destroy you anyway. Even if you did win the war. Yeah, now you see where you at. Yeah, it's spooky for you, ain't it? That's why you have to serve God. You can't be on the wrong side of the truth. This is the real world. And like I said, in the Civil War, if the South had won, some other country, Russia, China, would have came and stepped in if they had continued to mistreat the Africans, which proves my point. If you're on the wrong side of the truth about anything, you don't win the war by killing whoever you think who's in front of you. You can't win the war that way because someone else is going to come up. Someone else is going to pull up and you're going to have an ongoing war and it's never going to stop until you die. And I showed you a history and you know I'm right. Some other country would have stepped in. If Africans were still going through persecution similar to slavery and just disgusting human rights, China or Russia or some other country would have stepped in. Whether the North won or not. If the North had lost the war, someone else would have stepped in. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you don't win the war by physical means. Because if you're on the wrong side of the truth about something, you still got another war coming. Oh, you don't think it's real? I just gave you a tangible example. And that's why truth and good does matter more than any community or anything, buddy. It matters more than Black Lives Matter. It matters more than Blue Lives Matter or any other lives that you want to talk about. If you're on the wrong side of the truth, you are doomed to failure. That's just how the universe is set up. That's how God set it up. It's out of your control. You want it to be different, you got to go to another galaxy. Here on Earth, if you're on the wrong side of truth, you're doomed to failure. And I don't care what you do and how you manipulate, some other opposing force is going to come, if not God himself and his kingdom, to destroy you. And that's just how it is. And it proves another point. The black on black crime is on the wrong side of the truth. The black on black crime is on the wrong side of the truth, man. And if you think for 1 minute God is gonna let you rock forever on the wrong side of the truth without destruction, and you can win 1 million wars as black people, you can get rights, you can get all of this. Listen to this part. Not even a physical war. You can get rights, you can get all this progression, you can get all these companies started, you can get all this culture started. But if you're still on the wrong side of the truth, you're doomed to failure even though you think you're winning. Because somebody's going to pop up. If it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. If it's not us, it's going to be God. Because you're on the wrong side of the truth. And you're desensitized about it. You're callous concerning it. And you think it's all good and it ain't. You think it's all good because you don't feel nothing has happened. You don't feel nothing has happened from God. But look at the shape of the community though. That's what I'm trying to show you. And you want to blame everybody. You want to talk about racism. You shouldn't even be talking about that. You should be talking about nothing but cleaning up your community. Because at the end of the day, let's be 100. For people that's kind of racist, don't you think you can push them on into it with black on black crime? With all that killing, you might not feel like they're concerned. But what if they just look at it like they just don't like how you live it? Ain't that a good reason? I'm not saying I would do it, but there's reasons for things. They see you killing each other, you think they love you? You see, that's what I'm saying. And you have to make sure you're not flattering yourself either. You can be hated. You can be disliked. And there can be good reasons for disliking you. I know you don't want to hear that, do you? You don't want to hear his good reasons that you could be disliked as human beings, no matter what color you are. No one can walk around and say, well, you know, I just cannot be not liked. Everybody's going to like me. Look, you start to sound like a cartoon character. Think about it. Well, I'm just going to be liked. I can't do nothing that make people not like me or like my people. We're going to be liked regardless. You see the arrogance in that? And you have to humble yourself and say, you know what? We are out of control. And it is a reason why people don't like us. It is legitimate reasons. And when you come to terms with that, then comes real true manhood and womanhood. Because there are legitimate reasons for people not liking you. I ain't saying necessarily be racist, but at face value, they can say those are the people that's killing each other. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying, though? And that can form a certain opinion of those type of people. And you look at that as racism, which in actuality, you are the cause of the forming of that opinion. Listen, man, this is what it is. And that's why it's a thin line between racism and being hated for legitimate reasons. Everybody's subject to being hated. Oh, you just loved by everybody, no matter what you do. Come on, man. Use your brain. There's no humans can walk around doing any and everything and just be love, love, love. Who gets that treatment? Who deserves that treatment is the better question. Oh, you just doing everything, killing everything, everybody still love you. I know, see? Now you see what I'm saying. Listen, man, reality is everything. And keeping it 100 for real is everything, man.